else.
Yo, I'm in here right now. I just got to fix my camera. 1 second.
Right. Yeah, you're chilling.
Hasan, let's go, man. I appreciate you, boss.
I'm interested in seeing what the chat thinks. The reason you're totally wrong saying that the world would have less war if there was no female leaders is because if you actually ask anybody who's been in the corporate world for long enough, the companies that have the most arguments, the most difficult corporate structures to deal with. In fact, even if you ask most women, they say, I don't like having a woman boss. I'd rather work for a man. When you have a whole bunch of women in charge, it's nothing but a fucking bitch fest and it's a shit show. Every single fucking person who's ever worked in corporate knows that. Every single person who's ever worked in the world knows that women actually, as beautiful as they are and they're good at lots of different things, they would they would prefer to work for a male boss because it's a stronger, more clear leadership structure. Having a bunch of women in charge of countries is not going to make a fucking peaceful world. And the fact you believe that shows your entire mental model's fucked. I'd like to actually put a poll in the chat and let's see who agrees with you, who agrees with me.
Why will we take a poll in the chat? Of course, teenage boys are going to agree with your hyper-idealized manhood. Like they need to cling to that.
Okay, do you guys want me to step in on this conversation or
let's go?
We're not gonna do no 2 versus 1 bullshit. We're gonna wrap it up with Tommy, and then you guys can go at it.
No 2 versus 1 bullshit. Yeah, you mean like the Aiden Ross stream when anyway. XQC was getting fucking triple teamed. All right.
I didn't want to. All right, Tommy. I'm just a messenger. Let's not hate.
No, but Tommy, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on. I hope you have a safe flight, and I hope you enjoyed your time here.
Dude, I did. Andrew, take care, brother. Hasan, I just want to say props to you, boss. I appreciate you, man, putting the word out there. Thank you, guys.
Good to talk, bro.
Have a good day.
Appreciate you coming on, Tommy. Have a good one, man.
Cheers. Thank you.
Wow, that was quite the conversation. How do you feel about my guy, Tommy?
Sorry, you asking me or the?
Yeah.
Andrew.
On my way to 19
I don't know him personally. I have nothing against him personally. He's a new age thinker. He lives in the new think, the idea that the way the world runs and has always run is a bad thing, and that if we change everything from the ground up, it's somehow going to become a magically better place. Obviously, he has no proof or any references for his way of thinking because it's never been tested before. It's an untested theory. I think that for him to come along and say such blanket statements that if we changed all the world leaders to women, there wouldn't be war is inane and asinine. I think for him to say that a man who's physically strong can't be mentally strong is also stupid. But I also understand why he's saying the ideas he's saying, because he has a natural insecurity based on the fact that he's not a physical specimen of man, and the way he gets around it is to pretend that that's not important, which is fine. Lots of people do it, right? Stupid people saying being smart is not important. Poor people saying being rich is not important. It's a common defense mechanism that everybody does, and I completely understand it. However, most people with a basic grasp of economics and the way societies work would look at society and say, you know what? A society with brave, strong men who are full of honor and duty is actually a better society than men who walk around saying, I have no duty to protect anybody or protect anything, and I can just sit around and cry all day. And this theory is being tested in real time, right? America's quickly turning into the latter, and we can see crime rates going through the roof. We can see all the fucking school shooting, all this stupid shit that's happening because men have no emotional control anymore. And that's what's going to happen. Is the society's going to degrade, and the countries where men still stick to their honor and their age-old expected ways of acting, are there going to be a safer societies overall? So time will prove me right, but I have nothing against the guy. He's fine.
I think Andrew and the previous person that was on the call are just two sides of the same coin. They're both wrong, and they're both kind of right in different ways. But thinking that this has anything to do with gender is silly, all right? It has nothing to do with gender. Women can be just as oppressive and as brutal as men can be. Ultimately, it has everything to do with capitalism, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the gender. The assumption that women are going to be like hysterical across the board, that kind of generalization, is just incorrect. And that's why, Andrew, I've seen some of your work as you're doing the rounds on Twitch here, and a lot of the things that you said that you've been called out on, specifically in regards to like women driving, as a matter of fact, are just generally untrue. There's no empirical evidence to back up those claims, which is why you resort to anecdotes quite frequently and say things like, oh, well, it's just common sense, right? But it's not technically common sense. It's just your personal opinion.
Completely. It's my personal opinion based on my personal biases of my life experience. Now, when I say these, exactly. And when I say these things, X amount of people agree with me and X amount of people disagree with me. That's fine, and that's the same of nearly any statement in the world.
Okay,
I can say the world is round, and there'll be a percentage of people who disagree with me. That's totally and utterly fine. I come on here and talk about my own personal experiences, and my experiences, men are better drivers than women. I'm not saying there's no good female drivers. I'm not saying a female can't move a car.
No. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. There is a truth, and then there is your own personal experiences backed by anecdotes, right? or your own personal opinion backed by anecdotes from your own personal experiences. Now, your own personal experiences are oftentimes going to be incorrect and not close to the reality. That's why there's an entire field of statistical analysis. That's why we do empirical. That's why we rely on empirical evidence when we're making decisions. Why? Because we all carry a bunch of personal biases. And when we analyze situations, we do not have enough scope to grasp the entirety of the situation. We cannot comprehend it with our human brains.
Bro, listen,
which is why when it comes to women driving, it's a funny point because the truth is different. The truth is the exact opposite.
No, listen. First things first, there's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. I'm sure you've heard that from Mark Twain. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you're deriving.
You can massage numbers, but
you're deriving your truth from an internet study. That's fine. You can derive your truth from an internet study on a bunch of different things. The truth of life is the truth that you experience as an individual. That is the only truth that we all live within. You live within your truths, I live within my truths, because these are the truths I've experienced as an individual. If certain things happen to you over and over and over and over and over again, but the truth on the internet says it's not true, that doesn't mean that your experiences are any less real. So if you to come here and say the internet says X, especially
your experiences can be real. You could be a statistical anomaly, as a matter of fact. You can be one of those people, but more often than not, I want
to talk to you because I keep letting you talk and you're finishing your point and I'm trying to talk. So
okay, go ahead.
I'm going to. The fact that you're going on the internet, finding some study and saying that this is the truth, especially after the age of COVID and all the fucking truth we were told with that garbage, you want to sit here and say, oh, the internet said X. I'm sure the internet did. I'm talking about my personal experiences and some people agree with me and some people do not. That is perfectly fine. Don't give a fuck if people agree with me or otherwise. People are listening to me and they're either agreeing with me or not.
I know, but you're still wrong, and that's the problem.
I disagree with you.
Do you want to be right, or do you want to keep speaking into a hug box where people agree with you? And
Prove
then,
to me I'm wrong.
Well, if you just completely devalue empirical evidence, actuarial sciences, the entirety of the insurance industry that relies on making these sorts of calculations to ensure that these quotes are as profitable as possible, which ends up charging men higher rates than women, is a statistical likelihood that men are more dangerous drivers than women across the board and get into more car accidents across the board. If you're going to look at all of that and say it doesn't matter because that does not correspond to my own personal experiences, then you're silly. You're being silly. You're being a silly person. If everyone thought like you did, right, we would have no scientific achievements on this planet. We would still be living inside of fucking caves. And now, as much as I love Liver King personally, I don't think that that would be a good planet to live on. I'm pretty happy for, I don't know, all the medical achievements, all the scientific achievements that we have reached. And at the heart of all of that, all of those accomplishments lies an understanding of arriving at the truth through empirical evidence.
You done?
Yeah.
Cool. In my personal experiences, all of the car crashes I've been involved in, all the times my car was hit, and all the negative experience I've had on the road, women were at fault. That is, now you can sit here and say the insurance claims say that. I never said the insurance claims don't say that. I'm saying that I am not comfortable with women driving because of my personal experience. Those are my personal experiences. You can drag up all the empirical evidence in the world you want to try and drag up. Anyone with a brain knows how that aids the world agendas anyway. I don't want to go too political on a stream that's going to get taken down. So I'm not saying that I can't find a female race car driver. I'm not saying that.
That's not what I'm saying either. I'm not talking about like statistical anomalies. I'm straight up talking about the overwhelming amount of evidence that suggests that women are more careful drivers than men. Okay? And therefore better drivers than men. Now, you keep resorting back to your personal anecdotes. So let me walk you through this, right?
Brother,
do you agree that human beings have biases?
Do me a favor.
Okay. But hey, I respected your time. Do you want to answer my question? Do you believe that human beings have biases?
Oh, absolutely. We're all biased.
Okay.
Completely.
Do you think that those biases might cloud your judgment?
It's not about clouding judgment.
Not just your personal not just your own personal judgment. Do you think our biases might cloud our personal judgment?
I think every single person on earth is biased and lives within a biased
reality.
Reality.
That's absolutely true. Okay. So if you agree with me on both of those accounts, you understand that your anecdotes, your own personal accumulation of information is going to be clouded by your own personal biases. So you're not going to be able to assess the information adequately in the same way that empirical evidence would. This is precisely why we look at data rather than make arguments around our... Wait, let me finish. Come on.
I understand what you're saying.
This is precisely why we do that.
We went over the same point like 5 times here.
Everyone's saying kick you. You're long-winded the point. You're saying that the empirical evidence is saying X, so it doesn't matter what my personal experience is. That's fine. My point is, let me change it. Let's say that the empirical evidence says that a pit bull is more likely to bite you than a Dalmatian. But in your life experience, every time you went near a Dalmatian, it bit you, and a pit bull never did. Are you going to go up to a Dalmatian still completely and go, oh, it's fine, completely unbiased because the empirical evidence says X when you're covered in scars? No. You're going to say Dalmatians bite me for some reason, and I'm not comfortable around Dalmatians. That's called human nature. Okay. So I'm telling you my personal experiences, and I don't care. I understand your point. Empirical evidence says X. Women in this country can do X. I completely get that. For secondly, it's also country by country because you're only talking about America because you're American and you don't see outside of the world. That's fine.
I'm Turkish, actually. I grew up in Turkey.
That's not the point. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is I'm uncomfortable with a woman driving. And if you actually ask most women, if it gets late at night or it starts getting dark or it starts raining heavily or the parking gets difficult, they usually ask the man to drive themselves. I know many women who do that. They're not offended by my assumption. I know loads of women who go, oh, I don't want to park. You park it. Loads. There's not a bad thing about it. Who gives a shit, right? It's not even a big deal. You've come on here deciding you really want to stick up for the chicks and maybe, you know, one of them will drive over to your house. It's cool. We've got better things to talk about.
I look, let's be real. I don't think I need to be a male feminist to be able to attract women, okay? However, having said that, that was a funny implication. Having said that, you are failing to recognize what I am trying to say. I walked you through these steps slowly but surely. The thing is, the Dalmatian example that you gave is great. Why is it great? Because you are creating now a hypothetical scenario in which you want your opponent to concede. I can do the exact same thing and say, well, in my personal experience, Dalmatians never bite, or pit bulls never bite, whichever one you thought was the more aggressive breed, right? In my personal experience, what if in a million times that I have bred pit bulls or been around pit bulls, not a single one of them has ever been aggressive? We will never be able to arrive at a meaningful solution or a resolution to this conversation if we're both operating on personal anecdotes and hypotheticals. That is not how you can conduct an appropriate debate.
Good. So now you're saying the thing I just said. I have my own biases, my personal experiences, and I say them. Some people disagree and some people agree, and I don't care. You now come along.
But you're still wrong, though, because I'm not operating on biases when I talk about women driving. I'm talking about the empirical evidence. I might have personally thought women are worse at driving than men as well. But once you arrive at, once you look at the evidence and you realize that said evidence suggests something else, you're probably not going to continue believing the prior thing that you believed, right?
We went over the same point like 5 times, and I think we're just...
I know, but it's just weird because I can't I can't break through Andrew's.
I understand your point. You're saying that even if I thought
we're losing the girl.
No, exactly. I want to talk to her. He's saying even if I thought women were worse drivers, I've seen the empirical evidence, and I'm so smart that I ignore my own eyes and ears and believe what the internet tells me. That's what he's coming along.
That's not what I'm asking you to do, my friend.
I'm sure you're double vaccinated. It all makes sense to me now. You believe what you're told to believe. You don't believe your own eyes. You don't believe your own ears, and that's what you're going to sit here and talk about empirical evidence that you found on Google. Cool. If you believe everything that's on Google, that is your prerogative, my friend. And if you think that makes you sound smart in the modern world after the 3 years we've just been through, to say that I read a piece of paper that tells me to believe X, so I believe X, and I ignore my own personal experiences, and you think
I'm not asking you to ignore your own personal experiences. I'm simply asking you to look at the data.
So let's change the subject because you've just proven your point.
Okay. Andrew, do you believe? Well, you didn't really prove anything, but it's cool. Do you believe the Earth is flat, or do you believe the Earth is spherical, round?
2 years.
Aldi has his headphones on.
Yeah, oh, he took his headphones off?
He gets very stressed sometimes, and
Yeah, it's cool. It's important, Sometimes you can't take the heat. Sometimes you can't take the heat, so you gotta get out of the kitchen a little bit. Andrew, do you believe the Earth is flat or round, spherical, globe?
Round.
You believe it's round, right? But when you walk outside, it feels like it's flat.
Brother, and I
it looks flat, it feels flat, but you believe it's round. Why do you believe the Earth is round?
Because I have personal experience that would prove to me that the Earth is round.
Oh, you have personal experience. What happened? Did you go up to the fucking moon? Is that how you figured it out?
Exactly. I flew up into space and I looked down on Earth and I saw a big circle.
That's crazy. Okay, you don't have to. Hey, listen, you don't have to concede on that point, but I think you and I both understand the importance of scientific, the importance of empirical evidence in that one, right? Or you know,
all our fun.
Science.
And I saw him there, and I thought, wow, this guy, wow, okay, he's gonna ruin the stream. We had a hot chick. Now you're here.
Did you? Is that what you thought?
Just chill out. Like,
it's so what's up? Is it a little bit more difficult when I'm not like the traditional like SJW looking person? Is that why it feels like the stream is a little bit more ruined?
No, it's not difficult. As a professional, I'll tell you the conversation we just had.
Yeah, dude, you've been kicked in the face and stuff. Like, I'm sure you can handle little old me.
Exactly. So I'll tell you as a professional the conversation we just had. I said I am biased and I don't believe women can drive. That's my personal experience. I don't care if anyone agrees. Oh. You came along and said, don't interrupt me. You came along and said, no, that's not true because of the evidence. I came and said, I don't care about the evidence, my personal experience. You said, I also have personal experiences and we're all biased. I agreed. Then you said, even if I had personal experiences that said X, I would ignore them because the internet told me to believe Y. I believe what I'm told.
That's not what I said. I said that regardless of my own personal biases that I might have, evidence is still more important than my personal biases.
When you guys are both talking at once, you can't hear anything.
And you've lost, and it's boring. So let's just move on to the next subject.
Is that what happens? You just say I'm boring and I lost, and then you win? Is that what it is?
Do a poll on the chat, and if you won, then we'll continue to talk it. But I'm sure you've lost, and it's boring. And it's
do you want me to leave the conversation that desperately, Andrew? It seems like you're running away a little bit.
No, we're just going in a never-ending circle. Like, we
can move on from that. We can move on from the importance of science and Andrew's personal biases. Andrew, can you tell me a little bit about the Hustlers University, whatever that is? Not in a promotional capacity. I know that like you're doing the rounds on Twitch, and I know that that's probably giving you a big boost. But I want to understand, because you are a businessman. I want to understand how you generate revenue. Is it okay to get this information for free, or do I have to pay $50 and then maybe get an affiliate link and get other people to also join so I can make a 10% cut off of them also joining Hustlers University?
You can find everything on the website, and you can join if you want more information. That's fine.
So you don't want to share this information for free right now. You don't want to educate me on that.
I don't want to sit here and spend the next hour you trying to accuse me of some bullshit.
I'm not. I'm here to learn. Andrew, you are a brilliant mind. Maybe a little rattled from the numerous concussions, but brilliant nonetheless. So I want to hear more about your business strategy, if possible.
It's actually quite interesting that people who are too scared to get in the ring try and make fun of people who have bravery to try and make fun of.
No, I do think it's very brave. I do think it's very brave.
Oh, all right. So let's not detract the bravery of men who do things you're afraid to do. That's the first thing.
No. You are absolutely incredibly brave. You still might have CTE, but you are incredibly brave. I appreciate it.
I mean, whatever. It's fine. Cool. The point I'm trying to make is, I know you want to sit here and talk about hate you and try and break it down, and you've prepared a bunch of notes, etc.
I have no notes whatsoever. I'm a dumbass. I don't know anything I'm talking about. I'm simply here to learn from you.
Yo, can we stop with the sarcastic shit and just have an actual
No, I'm literally, but that's the truth.
Bro, you're being so sarcastic though. Like, why are you being so sarcastic? Like,
I'm not. I'm literally.
Bro, you just
come on. I'm asking questions.
Hasan, you're being sarcastic. Like, listen.
Hasan, please. It's pretty clear that I was the better Hasan. So
yeah, that's agreed. I agree with that one.
If you could just get out the call, maybe it would fix the stream.
I think so.
Would boring, you guys, man. If you guys would like me to leave the call, I can do that. I don't want to be. I don't want to be rude.
I gotta get back to work.
I do not want to be rude, boys. This is your stream. Andrew, I'd love to talk to you in more detail if you'd like to. I hope that one day you can educate me on your revenue strategies. I mean, it does look a little bad though if you feel as though I should leave the call because you feel like I'm overpowering you a little bit.